This is the very first feeding center that was ever established here in Panama 11 years ago. 11 years ago. The story begins with a pastor coming to visit his missionaries here in Panama. And a man and his wife and some kids, this missionary couple brought him to this area. At that time, 11 years ago, there was no concrete structure in this area at all. It was all shanties, just whatever they could find to put together for a house. And there was a great need then and now for kids that were just walking around not being fed at all. And so that he got a burden for it and came around and prayed and asked God to show him how he could help this missionary couple do something for these kids in this area. Goes back home to his church in Dallas and begins to pray, finds out about MANNA. MANNA's only a year old at this time. And so he finds out about MANNA, contacts Bruce, contacts MANNA. Chuck Ward comes down here and meets the missionary couple and comes out to this area and says, let's do something. So let's find us a piece of property, let's find us some money, let's get us a building, let's start feeding these kids in this area. So about 6 months walks along and they find a piece of property, they build a building and everything on it. They ask the pastor who initiated the whole conversation to come down and be a part of the dedication service for the new feeding center. As they drive up, and again, this is all, a lot of shanty towns, a lot of different places, and he comes up, as they drive up, this man just begins to weep. This pastor just begins to weep. And he said, what's going on? What is it? And he says, I came to a particular tree, the one tree that I knew I could recognize, and prayed that God would do something for this area. And he said, you guys bought a piece of property unbeknownst to him, built a building, built a center, and are feeding kids next to the tree that I prayed under. That's God working the whole thing out. So that's the story of this.